On today's show, Dallas Mavericks fall to the Washington Wizards, make their lives a little bit harder. Can they still host a playoff series this year? And what is the KP revenge game? And the Wizards scoring 135 points. Tell us about the Mavs defense. Talk about that and more on today's Locked On
I'm Luka
Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day, even after the losses. Joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer, Mavs.com. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
I mean,
So normally we sit here and like talk before we do the pod. We like try to like plan out the pod.
we plan it. We plan this thing sometimes.
We most of the time we plan it, and we literally just got in here. Nick's like, "All right, you good? Yep. All right, let's do this. No farting around on this one. Let's go." And we hit record. So here we are. Talk about Washington Wizards, Dallas Mavericks. Jason Kidd. Shout out to Jason Kidd for getting ejected.
This is a positive world. We'll take the positive. He was +2.
Actually, let's start off with this.
Oh, boy.
Biggest loser of the week, Tony Brothers.
Yeah.
My guy threw out Austin Rivers for never even making contact with somebody. And tonight throws out Jason Kidd for Jason Kidd asking him, "Hey, whose ball is it?"
He did warn him. He did warn him several times, like, "Hey, don't say it." And Jason Kidd was like, "Whose ball is it? Whose ball is it?" But yeah, it was not the best officiated game by Tony Brothers for sure in this one. But
you can't blame all Tony Brothers for this.
Mavs I mean, almost none of it. Like, yeah, could the Mavs cut it to 13 at one point, right? Like in the third quarter, they started going on that run. You start feeling okay about it. They cut it to 13. And then, there's a weird call where Brunson doesn't get an and one, and then Dinwiddie gets called for the technical, and then later in the fourth quarter, the Jason Kidd double technical. There's weird stuff like that that maybe stopped their momentum. But the Mavs lost this game way before that, right? Like this Mavs team didn't play a lick of defense all game. And honestly, like Luka offensively and Brunson a little offensively, he had 21, Luka had 36. Like everyone is at fault in this game. Literally every player.
Yes.
There was not good defense played. Luka left so many shooters wide open, and they just hit every single shot the Wizards did. And it just seemed like the Mavs defense just did not show up. Like Kidd had that quote before the Wizards game or after the Cavs game and said, "We did not participate in defense in the first half against the Cavs." They did not participate on defense in this game.
I was talking to Sharks yesterday on the phone, and we were talking about the Mavs and just kind of where he's at right now. He hadn't got to watch the Mavs recently. And he's like, "Hey, just give me like a couple sentence update of like what's went on over the past few weeks." I was like, man, I just led real quick with it's the defense. Like the defense has kind of fallen off a little bit of, they went on that stretch of after the Porzingis Dinwiddie trade. And, I think a lot of us knew, hey, they're kind of playing above their weight class when it comes to
they're out kicking their coverage. They're punching above their weight class.
Yeah. It's like
whatever phrase you want to use.
Shut up. Don't make fun of my phrases. And are you part of the Sevens family? But we knew they weren't.
My family watches
the top five, like a top five defense. But it is a little worrisome watching the defense fall off in some of these games. And here's the thing. If you have games like this every now and then you're like, hey, this is just part of it, right? But it feels like, and I need to go back and look at the schedule over the past like 4 or 5 weeks. It feels like these are coming a little bit more often.
So they had they had this game April 1st, which felt just like an April Fool's game. Like really, the Wizards scoring 135 against the Mavs. Was this an April Fool's joke? But they had this game 2 Fridays ago, March 25th. No, last Friday. Yeah, last Friday it was the Minnesota game where the Mavs just couldn't shoot anything. Then you had the Charlotte game last Saturday, the Saturday before last. That was a bad game. So it's like every weekend now. It's like the last 3 weekends there have been, and then March 9th was that Knicks game. And so that was like you skip one weekend where they beat the Celtics off of that game winner from Dinwiddie. But
Can you hear my son hollering?
Yes,
I gotta pee.
Yeah, he is. He's having a time over there. He's still trying to figure out why the Mavs lost this game. He had money. He had too much money on it on BetOnline, and
you can't pee right now. I'm doing a pod.
But yeah, 4 of the last 5 weekends, the Mavs have had these awful games.
Yeah, well, thank God I'm not doing a solo pod because I already got one tweet saying, I bet Isaac's doing a solo pod tonight, isn't he? Mike, don't you put that on me. Don't you put it on me.
There you go.
No. It is not the curse of Isaac solo pod. Get off. No, stop it. Stop it.
The curse of the Isaac solo pod comes back. If you're not watching on YouTube, I just put Isaac full screen and I'm not on the screen at all.
What did you think of Dinwiddie tonight? Because I was honestly a little surprised that Dinwiddie didn't come out torching. He just looked off.
I was ready to talk about this. Dinwiddie's got to be better. He's got to respond better in moments like this, right? Because this is a really big moment for him. Up against this former team, Wes Unseld Jr., the coach of the Wizards, comes out and says, well, I don't think Dinwiddie was right at all about what he said about his role in Washington. And he's been saying all these things about Washington. Like, he's said a lot about them, right? Like, on Locked On Wizards, they've talked about his comments a lot on their show. And 2 of 6 from the field, 8 points, -12. He only played 23 minutes. Like, when you don't play a lot of minutes, especially in his role, that shows that you're not playing well and you're not stepping up, right? Like, he's got to be better in moments like this. The Mavs just need him. Need him against the Wizards, which is just wild to me. This is like a very upside down April Fool's game, but they needed him in this game to be better. Nobody else was hitting shots, right? Dinwiddie, 2 of 5 from 3, but a couple of those were late. Didn't have any real threes. Bullock, 2 of 7 from 3. Kleba hit 2, a couple threes, but like these guys weren't hitting a bunch of threes. Like nobody else. Dwight Powell, 1 of 4 from the field. Like there was no one else that was scoring besides just the ball handlers. And Dinwiddie is the other ball handler. He's got to show up more. The Mavs can't just score 103 points against this Wizards team at the pace that they were playing.
Yeah, and look at the scoring across the board. There was only one other player, and besides Luka, scored in double figures. Like it's Jalen Brunson in this game at 21. Besides Luka, Luka was actually pretty dang impressive tonight. 11 of 22, 4
He was great offensively. He was great.
10 of 10 from the free throw line from Luka.
Hey,
so good for him. 6 assists in this game, 7 rebounds. But I was just surprised because I tweeted out before the game. I was like, who's more motivated in this game? Is it Porzingis or Dinwiddie? And it's funny because like a lot of things you poll on Twitter, that's either or. I literally had the exact same tweet, but for different players of like, it's Dinwiddie hands down than another person. There's no way it could be anything else besides Porzingis. He's the one. It's like, okay, cool. Like
it's like our all NBA teams we did yesterday. It's like, no, absolutely Donovan Mitchell has to make it. No, absolutely this guy has to make it. It's like, okay.
So then I was like asking myself in the first quarter, well, whose set of teammates are more like motivated in this game? Is it the Mavs that are saying, dude, hey, let's beat these guys because
let's show up for our guy.
Yeah, let's show up for our guy Dinwiddie. They disrespected him. Let's kind of show the KP too of whatever. And then the other side of the Wizards are probably like, hey, let's show up for our guy KP because these guys gave up on him and now he's with us and all this. So anyway, because we were texting about in the first quarter, they just wanted it more. Like Wizards just wanted it, and they were everywhere. They were hitting their threes, and Dallas just looked like, I don't know. It looked like it was a last game of a road trip for them, especially in the first half. But shout out to the third quarter though.
KCP, no, I will not.
No, that run in the third quarter was kind of fun. Like you thought that was happening.
Cool run, still cool run, still a loss. Like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Cool motive, still murder. Cool run, still a loss. KCP turned into freaking Steph Curry in this game. 6 of 11 from 3, 13 of 19 from the field, 35 points. It's just the third time in his career he's scored 35 or more points. First time he's done it since 2019.
What did he have in the first quarter? I'm looking at this in the first.
He had a Luka game in the first quarter.
He had 12 points in the first quarter. It just felt like he wasn't missing.
KP 24 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, couple steals, 8 of 18. I lost the bet. He didn't take 25 shots. He didn't need to take 25 shots. He only played 30 minutes.
Wait, do you have it? Do you have the pie?
No, I don't have it. I have a wrapper of I have a banana.
Whatever.
It's just an awful defensive game. So coming up, let's talk about what the Mavs need to change. What's coming up for the Mavs in the next couple of days? What do we need to watch for? And then how can they make this change? Because the defense has not been good enough. Jason Kidd said, hey, we got to practice tomorrow and we're going to get better. Like he said, we are going to fix this. We're going to get better. So what are the Mavs going to try to fix? Talk about all that and more coming up. Before we do, let me tell you about BetOnline. It's the best thing for you to go check out all the lines and odds and props and everything. If you're listening, watching this on Friday night, or maybe even before on Saturday, got the NCAA tournament coming up. You got the NCAA tournaments. Check it out. Still a 4-point favorite for Kansas and over Villanova. Still a 4-point favorite for Duke over North Carolina. They also have the championship game. If it was North Carolina versus Villanova, let's say it's the Mavs. The Mavs players teams win in the Final Four and go to the final. Time to get
revenge on Nova.
Who do you think would be the favorite?
North Carolina.
It's a pick 'em.
Wow.
They don't even pick a favorite. If Duke and Villanova make it to the final game, Duke would be a 4-point favorite. If North Carolina and Kansas make it, then Kansas would be a 3.5-point favorite. If Kansas and Duke make it, so the two favorites in the Final Four, who do you think would be favorited?
Oh, Duke for sure.
Duke by 1.5 if those happen. So go check it out on BetOnline. Go check out all the odds available, not just college basketball. They have NBA, they have basketball futures, they have all kinds of things. Check it out. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
Doom, doom, doom.
All right, Isaac. So the Mavericks need to change something on defense. They have not had a good defensive month at all. If you go back to March 1st, the Mavs are 12th on defense, allowing 114 points per 100 possessions, which is just not a good defense at all. It's down there with the Nets. It's down there with the Spurs, the Warriors. The Pistons are higher than them. The Magic are higher than them. There's a lot of stuff. So it's not the defense the Mavs had been playing that got them to the point where they were number 3 in the NBA. And I don't know if you saw Kirk Goldsberry. He tweets out the efficiency every single 15 games or so. He tweets out the efficiency landscape, and he always says all right, what jumps out to you? So I'm just going to show everybody this on YouTube if you can see it. So what jumps out to you? Okay, so to me, the Mavs are almost dead set right in the middle, and this is just on offense and defensive efficiency. The Timberwolves are all the way up here to the right. The Grizzlies are up there to the top right.
The Grizzlies.
The Celtics, the Suns, they're all in that area. They're incredibly efficient right now. The Mavericks are 11-4 in their last 15 games, but they're not efficient at all. Their offense has not been good. Their defense has not been good. They've just been finding ways to win games. Isaac, do you think that this is a positive or a negative trend for the Mavs?
No, I don't think it's positive.
Even though they're 11-4 in this stretch, they're winning games. They're just not efficient at all. They have the same efficiency as the Pistons are more more efficient than them right now. The Pelicans are.
I think it goes to the question that I posed the other day on the pod, and I think this just depends on the type of person you are. It's just opinion based, I think. Do you hang your hat on the fact that they can come back from down 15, from 18, that they have that record in the league, that they're the team that comes back from the most, double digit, deficits and all of this stuff? I think there's one person who is saying, yeah, that shows that we're resilient. That shows how awesome we are, that it doesn't matter what league. But then there's the other side, and I think this is where I land. I land on the side of, I don't really want to bank on that. I actually don't. It's cool that we can come back, and it's cool that we can go into a third thinking, all right, we got that switch, hopefully we can hit the switch. I just don't want to have that as the fallback. I kind of don't like that, because yeah, I just think it can kind of be a dangerous mindset going into a playoffs knowing that, oh, you know what? All right, we're down, you know. Okay, we can slack a little bit. We can come back. We've done it a lot this year. And then you don't, and then the series is over. And it's like, okay, well, you kind of hung your hat on that. I don't know. But I could be I could be convinced the other way too. So
no, Jason Kidd agrees with you. He said the exact same thing after the game. He said, there are times in these games when we just feel like, hey, we can come back from anything, right? We've been this team that's been able to come back, and so we get lax and allow too many points in the first half, and then all of a sudden we're down by all these points. And so that's what I think they're going to try to change. But what are the tactical things that we think that they can change? I mean, some of it is just, we've talked about how the Mavs play defense, right? The Mavs play defense by rotating well. They always get to their guy. They force passes to just be a little bit worse on the other team. They force shots to just be a little bit worse, force you to not take threes, take more mid-range shots. Now, the Wizards scored 53 points in the mid-range in this game, and 50 points from three, so that's not going to help you. But they force teams to take mid-range shots. They try and avoid you from taking shots at the rim. Just by deterring it from the perimeter. And if one player is off, because they do this switchy thing, they switch everything. If one player is off, so Luka is not really trying that hard because he's getting discouraged because of the refs and because of his teammates missing passes, not being in the right spots on offense, missing shots. If he gets discouraged and then he doesn't go out, then all of a sudden that equals a wide open shot for the other team. All of that stuff. It takes a lot of effort to play defense the way the Mavs have. And so I'm honestly not surprised that they've tailed off like this in this month, especially when they're winning games, right? Like, hey, we're winning. We are better than this. So we can just turn it on for a quarter. They've won a couple of these games the last month where they've just played one good quarter and then they end up winning. And so I can understand why they're like, all right, I don't want to put in the effort the entire quarter. The entire game, I'm just going to put in for this quarter. And if I put in the work this quarter, we'll still win the game. And it just hasn't worked in some of these.
And you said it right. It's like, especially this Mavericks type of defense, it requires, I mean, all defenses require effort. But when you're going against these teams that have these, they didn't do it a lot tonight because they don't really have a star in DC right now, but outside of Beal. But it's like,
he didn't play.
When they're, going against the Durants and these guys of the world, and they're trapping and they're double teaming, it's requiring even more effort to close out and to rotate. And that's really just the key. I don't want to do the like cliche about this as far as what's wrong with their defense, but their defense more than ever you just have to have the effort, and you got to give the maximum effort of that. It's kind of like their team defense is kind of like James Harden in a sense of like, got to Philly, honeymoon stage, few games, you're like, all right, he's trying, he's giving everything, it's working. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, best duo in the world.
Have you ever seen Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
I have not, no.
Like the first season, I can't remember if it's like one of the first episodes or so.
Wait, did you think that I've seen that?
I don't know. Me and my wife watched it together. I don't know if it's like a show. It's a funny show. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
There's this scene where she sets an alarm, or she sets like her windowsill like to a certain point where the sunbeam is going to hit her in the face so that she wakes up without an alarm, so she doesn't wake her husband up. She wakes up early, she goes and like puts her hair all up, fixes her face and makeup and everything, and then goes back to bed and pretends like she woke up like that, right? She does that every single day, where it's like she's basically like, oh, I just woke up like this, right? Just to be like, to put out the perfect appearance. It's like that, right? Like it's like you're trying to put on the best appearance. You're out there, you're like, all right, I'm trying harder, and then eventually it just slips and falls, and then you wake up and you don't do that as much because you feel better. There's an article recently I read that happy married couples tend to gain weight. This is the weight the Mavs have added. They started feeling good about the way they were playing. They gained some weight, and this is where it's showing up on the defensive end. Well, can I keep going? Can I do more analogies?
No, please don't. But the trade happens.
It's like a Built bar.
130 calories. But the trade happens, and it's like, they fully embrace this new style. They knew who they were. Like we've talked about it. And it's like, all right, we're going to embrace that. We know who we are. This is our style. We're going to go out and show everybody that we can win like this with this roster with no big. And they went out there and they were just flying on all cylinders. But is that sustainable? I don't know. Like, you just texted me a few days ago about a potential trade in the offseason for a big. And my whole thing too was, I honestly just kind of want to see what this team looks like first. And I love fake trades, but I want to see how far they can go. And now I just want to see what the defense looks like in the playoffs. Was that few weeks, month, whatever after the trade deadline was that kind of fool's gold a little bit, and they were just really motivated. This is how our defense is, and the defense kind of tails off, and then we see kind of what it really looks like. But I think now it's up to them that, hey, what can we? Let's show which Mavs defense are you? Are you what you are right now, or are you the Mavs defense from a month ago?
Because the Mavs defense, what they're playing right now is average. It's not even like awful. It's awful every. It's awful like 5 out of the last 6 weekends, but
it's just the weekends.
Just the one weekend game every other weekend.
I was also kind of surprised. I mean, KP had an efficient game, with 24 points and hit a couple threes and stuff. I was also surprised that they put Dwight on him the whole game. I thought they would put Dorian on him. I'm like,
me too.
If any team knows that you can guard KP with a wing, then it's Dallas. But they just rolled Dwight the whole time, and I just found that intriguing. I don't know, maybe it was more about who Dwight would have guarded out there. Else,
you're gonna put him on Hachimura.
Yeah,
Anthony Gill out in the corner.
I love Rui, by the way.
I know you do. Jordan Brand.
Anyway, I just want to I just want to get this out of the way. I've seen a few tweets, a couple at me. Man, KP torched us. He really did this. I'm like, okay.
Casey, like if he had the game KCP had, then yes, I would be like, yeah, KP torched us.
He had a good game. If there's anybody having any regrets about the Porzingis trade, I don't know really what to tell you right now. I'm sorry if you.
It's about more than one game.
He can have fun in Washington. I mean, this is what he wants, right? Like a team centered around him.
Yeah, wait until Brad Beal comes back.
And this team will not be in the playoffs.
They're not. Yeah, they're not. But. So yeah, that's this game. So looking forward, it's funny. The Bucks are getting beat by 20 by the Clippers right now.
Ooh.
But they sat everybody. They literally sat everybody. So they're resting all these guys. So Sunday afternoon, tomorrow, if you're listening to watching this on Saturday, Bucks, Mavs, noon Central Time game.
That's a tough one for Dallas.
That's a tough one. Very tough one. If they win that one, we're feeling a lot better, right? We're saying, okay, that's a game the Mavs have actually circled on the calendar. Drew Gooden on the Wizards broadcast said the Mavs had this Wizards game circled on their calendar. I'm like, I mean, it's probably on their calendar. I just don't think that they have it like.
They didn't have this one circled.
If you just saw the way that they played and the way that they came out.
If you had it circled, you're playing a little bit different than this.
So this Milwaukee game's a really, really good test. Really good test. How do they guard Giannis? What are they going to do against, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday? How do they play offense against Giannis and Drew Holiday, and Brook Lopez is back? And like there's a lot of tests there for the Mavs, and so that's going to be a good one. And now the Mavs fall back to 4th in the West. They're only a game and a half up on the Jazz, so it's not out of the woods that the Mavs still fall back to 5th. Like it could still happen. You had to kind of win out to keep that 3rd spot, but they can climb back up to 3 too. I mean, there's still anything can happen.
And there's a big game tomorrow night between Utah and Golden State, or tonight.
Massive.
I guess if you listen to this
on
Saturday, but it's Jason Kidd said this post game tonight. He said he was saying we almost relaxed a little bit because we clinched, and you say you clinched because they clinched the top 6 seed. It's what we said on yesterday's pod. It's like, did they have some type of kind of relaxed part of them going into this game of like, hey, we're not gonna be in a play-in, so we're kind of feeling ourselves now. It kind of makes sense when you watch them play tonight if they felt that way. But they got it. They got to try their best to land at that 3 spot. It's just so much better to land it at 3 at that point. But it's like 3 or just fall back to 6. And but
honestly, they're only a game and a half up on the. No, yeah, they're a game and a half up on the Nuggets too. So like they could fall to 6.
Yeah, so Nuggets is playing Minnesota right now, so that's a tough game, big time game. Towns, Jokic, all that. But I mean, I'm really worried about Sunday. That early tip game, Giannis should win MVP. He's going for that MVP stuff right now.
I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that.
And he is just, I mean, yeah, he's on another world right now. Does Dallas start Maxey in that game? They've played Maxey against Giannis and stuff before. If it's not Maxey, who's trying Giannis?
Dorian.
Sunday prayers for Dorian.
Another 40-point game for Giannis possibly. Yeah, they'll also probably do the thing where they double, but they got to double at the right times. Like the Nets try to double Giannis, and if you double him on the catch, then he can just kick out somebody else. And Middleton, Holiday, Brook Lopez, and them are good enough that they can swing it around and get a good shot. So,
and can you remind us again after the Bucks game just what the remaining games are?
I can. It's so that I know that they play Detroit next. And then Portland, and then
San Antonio.
So it's on Wednesday. It's Detroit, so they get 2 days off, which is nice after this early Sunday game. Couple days off, then they play in Detroit. Wish Tim Hardaway could play in that game because he just destroys Detroit in Detroit. And then a day off after that. Friday they play Portland, and then Sunday they'll play San Antonio. Still don't know what time that game is, but that's the last 3 here. Detroit has been really frisky. Portland is not playing well at all. They don't care. And then San Antonio will have something to play for probably. So there's not out of the woods
sneaky.
yet.
Detroit's sneaky. There's a stat with them to where they have like 12 wins against above 500 teams, and they're a sneaky team right now. But
Detroit is really sneaky. They have wins against the Sixers. They had a 7-point loss to the Nets. They beat the Hawks. They almost beat the Cavs. They almost beat the Miami Heat. They almost beat Boston. Like they had an overtime win against Atlanta, a regular win against Toronto. Like they've had some good wins here. So they'll catch you by surprise.
All right, I have nothing else to say about this dumb game.
Mavs got to change some things. Got to fix their defense. Next couple of games are really important. We'll have it all for you. We'll break them all down on Locked On Mavs. Guys, thanks so much for all the kind comments and stuff about our episode yesterday. We enjoyed it. We had lots of fun. All the subscriptions and people that came out. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening and watching Locked On Mavs, even after a loss.
Welcome to the new subs, by the way. A lot of new subs over the past few weeks. So shout out to you guys. Maybe we can do something special for y'all over the next week or something. I don't know what that is.
Have the Mavs win games.
Exactly. This just in. The Mavs play the Bucks on Sunday. You heard it here first.
Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.